kids naturally pick up everything and start doing whatever they want on that paper, right? They don't think about it, they just enjoy it, the process. The outcome is the outcome. They don't mind that. They don't stop themselves from expressing themselves and from creating and having fun. And that's something that we start letting go of as we grow up. I think we're all little artists that we just need to get in touch with them again.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Academy Podcast with the #1 international best-selling author and multi-award winning success and life coach, Kamil Shah. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking this opportunity to grow together with me, Kamil Shah, and my guests on this program. Each episode of the Academy Podcast is filled with insights and wisdom from my guests, which I believe can have a profound impact on the way we live our lives. Without further ado, let's dive in. Firstly, before we move on to this episode, I want to give a massive shout out to all of you tuning in and for your great feedback so far for the podcast. The Academy Podcast, as you know, is new, but already we're reaching out to so many people across the globe. And I'd love to hear your feedback and review. In fact, I want to share some of them with you right now. So Queenie says, I listened to it at the right time because I have been thinking a lot of what, how, and when will I get few things done. Now, #1, the breathing exercise and visualizing things around me was a brilliant idea as it made me live in the moment and feel it. Posting this as I want all my people to stay happy this holiday season. We all have had a lot to deal with. The pandemic, losing our loved ones, losing jobs, people suffering. Now it is time to feel the moment. There is always something nice and beautiful with us and around us. Thank you so much for this, Kamil. Thank you so much, Queenie, for leaving that feedback. And I hope it resonates with all of you listening in. I want to give a massive shout out to Anita Wu, who also left a review for the Academy Podcast. She says, a heartwarming reminder, a wonderful podcast that reminds you of how precious life is, the simple things we take for granted, and how each of us is a role model in our own right. Oswald's bravery living with cerebral palsy and overcoming daily challenges makes me want to carpe diem with a new lens. So thank you so much, Anita Wu. Thank you so much, Queenie. And to all of you, keep the reviews coming in. I'd love to hear from you and what you think of the Academy Podcast. And now to this week's episode. Hello and welcome to the Academy Podcast with Kamil Shah. First and foremost, I hope you are doing well wherever you are tuning into this session. The next, over half an hour is going to be an awesome experience because I have, like I said, a good friend of mine joining me on the podcast today. Joining me today is Marilucy Hernandez Rivera, better known as Lali, who is an artist and an art teacher, passionate about all things handmade. A rebel at heart, Lali went to learn all different mediums of art, from mosaic to analog photography, drawing, painting, jewelry, lithography, ceramic sculpture. She's done it all, okay? She's also obtained a bachelor's degree in art history with high honors. Lali is a true example of the healing powers of art making and the creator of My Heart's Remedy. In her chapter, Confia, Lali talks about how she was able to transform her life after losing both parents by age 30 and surviving an abusive relationship while being pregnant with her first child. She blossomed into her authentic self through arts and the continuous reflection, acceptance, forgiveness, and nurturing of her relationship with herself and the Great Spirit. My Heart's Remedy was born from her realization that art indeed was her heart's remedy to heal all the loss and trauma she's experienced. Through workshops and art classes, she's touched the lives of many, from children to seniors. She is on a mission to continue helping others express themselves and change their stories one art piece at a time. Most recently, Lali became an international best-selling author with the co-authored book, Authentic: Courageous Humans Who Change Their Lives by Rewriting the Story, when it hit number one on the Amazon charts across the globe. Welcome, Lali.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Kamil. Thank you for having me here. I am super excited and happy, but mostly honored to be here. So thank you.
Thank you again, Lali, for saying yes to join this podcast. And
Of course.
just to remind folk who are tuning in,
hmm
I'm based in Dubai right now. And where are you joining from?
I am joining from Puerto Rico, which is a small island in the Caribbean. Um, and I am from here, actually. I'm Puerto Rican.
Super awesome. So again, the power
Yes.
of technology, that we are continents apart, yet we are able to communicate and express our love for all things great.
Yes, yes, and see each other. It's
Absolutely,
amazing. It's amazing.
absolutely.
Thinking,
So Lali,
I feel
again,
very
I
fortunate.
want to
So,
bring you in right now. I mentioned there in the introduction that you are now a best-selling author, international best-selling author with the book Authentic, and you've written a chapter which I have read, and it's a super powerful chapter because
thank you,
the
thank you.
start of it starts right from the word go, and I'm really touched by what you've written. I don't want to give too
Oh,
much away, again, because I want people to go ahead and buy the book, Authentic:
mhm.
Courageous Humans Who Change Their Lives by Rewriting Their Story, available on Amazon in digital and paperback format right now, right?
Yes, yes, both.
And it's
Both
across the
things.
globe. So all Amazon sites, go ahead and purchase the book because
Yes, you're not
Lali's
gonna
chapter
regret it.
is, yeah, absolutely. Lali's chapter is really powerful. Again, it's too much of me talking right now, so I want to bring you right in, Lali. Okay.
That's
So
right, that's
Lali,
right.
tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yes, well, like I said, I'm from Puerto Rico. I'm currently 34 years old and I'm a mother. But before becoming a best-selling author, which I'm still, trying to grasp in my head, I've been an art teacher and an artist also, and I have done many other jobs. I was inspired to write this chapter because the title of the book inspired me to tell this story because up until now, I hadn't realized how much work I had done on myself to be able to overcome those situations. And the chapter was basically a way for me to analyze it, to put it in writing, which makes it so different than being in your head, right? And to actually organize it and see what theme was there, what I actually did to get there. So it was a great experience to write that. But before that, I was a student also, and I traveled the world. I've always been passionate about learning new cultures, meeting new people, and I am fortunate enough to be bilingual and be able to speak with people who speak English, and that's a blessing in itself because that way I can share with others the same passion that I have for life and traveling and art and everything. So art has always been a main theme in my life in all its forms, in music, in dancing, in writing, in painting. And I feel super grateful and blessed that I'm able to do this as a living.
That's
So
really great. Thank you for sharing that, Ali, because again, we mentioned in the introduction that you have used art as a healing force in dealing with what you have dealt with in the past. How does art, now play a role in your daily life?
well, and right now in my daily life, other than the commissions that I'm doing, that I have to exercise, being creative and sketching and painting and all that, it really helps me to keep my mind clear, to put everything in perspective. Because as I doodle in my sketchbook, I call it as I doodle in my sketchbook, I not only draw figures that come into my mind or that I dreamed of, I also start writing phrases or words that come into my head at the moment that I'm writing. Like the name My Heart's Remedy, it actually came from me drawing and doodling in my sketchbook. It was like that download that it just printed in my head, like you need to write this down. So And my day to day is helping me to stay calm, stay centered, because the times, like everybody knows, have been so unpredictable, so difficult, many losses and many changes that we were not prepared for. So during this time, it has been the tool that has kept me going, basically. It really has. It really has. And also, not only writing or doodling, art is also music and dancing and all those things. And I love to dance in my room at night just before going to bed because I need to like get out all the energy and everything that went through the day. And that's a way for me to relax and just connect with myself. And once I'm done with that, I can sit and meditate or just lay down and then go to bed. So dancing has been another thing that has kept me going, and the music, of course. But yeah,
I love that, and I resonate with that because just to give you a bit of background, I've had a conversation recently about this particular topic, the power of art, as compared to, writing for me is also a form of art, poetry. We've had conversations
mm-hmm.
with Oswald, another friend of ours who's a poet,
Yeah,
another kind of form of art. Physical arts, things like, sculpting, painting, things that is beyond words. I find
mm-hmm.
that fascinating because, again, I'm talking about my own background coming from architecture and art. So I think, we
Yes.
we understand each other, the power and significance of that art plays in our lives. You mentioned about, just being yourself and being authentic by using art as a form of expression. How does that, for the people listening, what's your take on art being a remedy to
Mm-hmm.
bring people to a state of calm and peace, especially in the times that we have nowadays? Things are quite, I find things are quite hard and harsh. So what's
Yes.
your take on art's role in that sense?
Yeah. Well, I think that the people that were doing art are not that much. The artists or people that were drawn to art before the pandemic were definitely going back to it, to crafting or painting or creating because
Mm,
we were all stuck in our houses, right?
mm,
But also the ones that maybe did not know anything about art took on a new hobby because they realized, wait, I'm home. It wasn't mentally safe to be watching the news all the time. So
absolutely.
creating something and keeping your mind busy so that you could stay stable, in this time was something that I'm pretty sure helped a lot of people get through this time. I know of friends who I studied with and they studied art with me. That they, after they left college or they left high school, they never touched a book or something, a sketchbook or a painting, a canvas. And during the pandemic, they started painting and drawing again. And of people who thought they had no artistic talent, who
Mm,
actually said, "Oh, I'm gonna try knitting and see how that goes," and they actually enjoyed it and saw that there was something good there. So I think it's played a really big role, especially because we had to be stuck in our houses. So what else could we do? We had to get creative.
absolutely. And I think that's you've explained that really well there. The power of art. And for me, just looking at art, I mean, you don't really need much. One of the blockers that I find is people say is that, oh, I need to be creative first and foremost, or I need the right equipment to be creative. But in fact,
Mm.
you look around your house. There's so many things that we can just use and just use as art.
Yes, definitely. I'm pretty sure we all have paper and tape and scissors and glue in our house. Maybe crayons from your kids, pens. You can draw with pens and pencils, of course. So there's definitely things to go around, like you say. And something that I have always loved doing is repurposing garbage, like recyclables, making things with cardboard and stuff like that. So there's always something that you can grab and do with it. Just you just have to allow yourself to to go for it. Because like you said, some people they they feel intimidated because they might feel like they don't have the skills or they need to know something or they need to practice or learn. And I think we're all artists. When we're kids naturally pick up everything and start doing whatever they want on that paper, right? They don't think about it. They just enjoy it, the process. They're not thinking about, oh, is this going to look like a sun or like a tree like I'm trying to? No, they just enjoy the process of doing it. And the outcome is the outcome. They don't mind that. But they don't stop themselves from expressing themselves and from creating and having fun. And that's something that we start letting go of as we grow up. I think we're all little artists that we just need to get in touch with them again. So yeah, I'm just lucky enough that I continue being an artist and doing it and studying it and now doing it more because I realize I don't want to leave this. Like I don't want to stop playing like a little kid, you know?
That's a great way of looking at it. I like what you said about, when you look at kids and they're just enjoying the process. They're not too concerned about the outcome, but they're just in the moment and enjoying the process. And
Mhm.
I think about my own kids and I watch them play, and you just sit and watch, and they're just playing, they're just creating stories after stories, and
Yes.
even when they're doing art. You mentioned that, again, being a dad, and with my wife, we, almost every second day we have to prepare stuff for them to take to school to do art. This week we have to
Yeah.
bring, egg cartons, or loo rolls, and all that stuff. It's nice in a sense to be able to connect with those things and have that conversation with them, and ask, so
Yeah.
what did you make today? It's nice, like you say, that we are able to reconnect with our childhood, our own inner child, and
Yes.
not to be, I guess, intimidated or ashamed for the fact that, I'm a big kid.
Hmm.
I'm okay with it. And you just said it there, that you are, you feel, you're a kid, and that's great.
Yeah. I'm a big kid.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. I love that. I love that, because I
And
kind of
actually,
feel like nowadays people
Mhm.
have that stigma of, we have, when you're grown up, okay, that was a kid. Now I have to be, a grown up. And
Yeah.
why not? Why not just continue being a kid?
Exactly. Exactly. They know what to do. We're just because I mean it's a pity. It's true that what you say that people see it as a phase. That childhood is just a phase. But if you look at it, when we go to therapy or yeah, when we go to therapy to try to fix ourselves, the most things that we talk about and touch are our childhood. That's how important childhood is. And to neglect your child, your inner child, is like neglect your own self. Because honestly, being an adult, having so many responsibilities, bills, work, all that, it's not that fun. If you think about it, what is fun is playing. What is fun is running around, is exploring, is being curious, is expressing, is dancing. It's all of the things you said that your kids do. I also see that with my daughter, and she's an only child, so she plays by herself not most of the time. I play with her, but not every time. So I can see her talking to her different imaginary friends all the time, and she makes like the best games that I've seen. But by looking at her, I get reminded all the time of how important it is for us to play and be with our inner child all the time too. Not take things too seriously, being detached of the outcomes, because what I told you about the kids, I learned it when I was an art teacher. And I would see that they would just, I would tell them, okay, we're going to do this and that. And it would end up being something else, but they had fun and they enjoyed it and they're less happy. And some of them even broke their art pieces afterwards. And I was so surprised and also like, what? But that teach me detachment from the outcome. Um, that the important thing was the journey, was the process, not what it ended up being. So I think kids are definitely our teachers. if you see them, like you said, they can dance and sing and all of that. And all of that is art. Like art is in us. We just need to express it and find the way that we like to express it. Because, like you said, writing is art. I totally believe it. Because when you read a book or a poem, you get transported somewhere else. And when you make art, you're being transported somewhere else. That's the amazing thing about art. You can recreate something that is in your head or you dreamed or you felt and make it in a tangible visual way that others can also get inspired or feel the same way or get identified. So yeah, I think art is it is a remedy. I think everybody should try it, and I think that the best gift you can give yourself is to express yourself, your true self, and not put any limits to it.
I
Yeah.
love what you said there about being detached from the outcome. We mentioned that just now when watching kids play and they're detached from the outcome. Um,
Mhm.
for me, that is quite powerful because nowadays, especially nowadays, I feel that people, a lot of people are attached to, especially material things,
Mhm.
and that attachment to something physical for me, if you look at it in the long term, I take a view that material things will come and go.
Yeah.
Things will eventually break down. They will not last forever.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
used to be like that. I used to kind of. I'm not saying I don't value material things. I do value them, but now I'm able to detach myself from them, and that plays a
Mhm.
role in my emotions. Whereas
Yes.
before, something breaks, I get really upset and uptight and anxious. And now I kind of feel, well, it's done its job. It's time to move on. Maybe we can
Mhm.
reappropriate it in a different way. You talk about recycling, right? Can
Mhm.
we use it
Yeah.
in a different way? So that's where kind of creativity for me comes in. You start to think about, you mentioned curiosity, and I love that. You mentioned, a few minutes ago about being curious about things. So
Mhm.
if you try to blend those two things together, when things break, when you're mentioning about your students, they take their artwork home and then they break them. And, as a parent, you might say, why did you break your artwork? It's so beautiful. But then, as a child, you're like, wow, I want to see how else I can, maybe take the bottom and put it on the top and, start to experiment with
Mhm.
things. I love that. I love that you mentioned all these things about curiosity, being detached from the outcome, and the fact that we are
Yes.
all artists. And that's really powerful reminder for everyone listening that, you are artists, inner
Yes.
artists. Yeah.
Yes, yes, you have art in you. Always, always. Because you can always see that the way we express ourselves, the way we present ourselves in the world, it's all art too. The way we dress up, how we do our hair, how we move when we speak, the words that we choose, that's that's all related to art if you look at it. So yes, we're definitely all the artists. I believe it, and I have no doubt about it. And what you said about the kids and them being curious, that's something that we also lose when we grow up, and that's being seeing all the other possibilities. Sometimes we just get stuck in one thing and we don't see the forest, when we see the super forest. And so kids are not like that. And so they see many possibilities and they explore them all. So that's something else. That's something that I believe we should keep doing when we're grown up as well. Because I mean, if we get to focus on one thing, we might miss what the lesson is there and how we can enjoy the journey to get there. And also, we can get disappointed if the outcome is not what we expected. And maybe the outcome could have been different if would have seen the other possibilities. So, yes, it's all a game of realizing what you can offer, what you have inside, and what you can do for others.
That's brilliant. I love that. I love that. Lali, I want to bring it back to your chapter in
Yes.
Authentic. Okay.
Yes, we got carried away
No,
with the art.
I love it because that's the foundation, right? That's the foundation because that's where you are
Yes,
now. So let's, if you don't mind, we can trace back, how did
yes,
this
yes.
love for art or kind of your involvement with art come about? Because in the chapter you mentioned a lot of the things that have happened to you yourself and the people around you, the people that you love, how things have panned out. So
Yes, yes. Well, I talk in the chapter about how I started liking art since I was a child, about my daughter's age. She's 5 years old now. And I liked it because I got involved with it because my sister was 5 years older, so she never wanted to play with me. So I was basically by myself, and I saw it as a way to get entertained. And my parents, both of my parents, were very artistic as well. They did not live of art, unfortunately, but we had materials here of art, and I would also see them doing something of art. So crafts mostly. They didn't paint or draw. They just made crafts. I was the one that learned how to draw and paint and all of that. So they definitely inspired me to to do art. And when they saw that it was something that I liked a lot, that I didn't express it verbally, but they saw me doing it all the time, they decided to put me in a school, in a high school that was specialized in art, visual art. So I studied from seventh grade to 12th grade art, and then when I graduated, I went to college and I studied art again. But art history because I wanted to know where it came from, and the artists that came before us and the movements and the types of art and all of that. And I loved it very much. And actually, I fell in love with architecture because of that. But coming back to it, art, yes, it started there. So, and it continues, thank God. I really have to say that my parents were a very big inspiration. I felt like now, when they passed away, I felt like I was fulfilling their dreams of being an artist. And that's why I also want to continue doing art and hopefully be able to live from art the rest of my life because I know they couldn't. And pretty sure they wanted to. I'm sure that was the dream of them because that's what called their hearts too. So yeah, that's how all the art thing began. But I also talk in the chapter about how it helped me to overcome certain the most difficult moments in my life, like when I lost my mother when I was almost a teenager, and my father. He also passed away during when I was 4 months pregnant, and I truly believe that if it wasn't because I was analyzing and expressing myself and integrating what I was learning through the visual and tangible aspects of art, I wouldn't have come this far and I wouldn't be here because I did have very low periods in my life where I almost wanted to disappear. And if it wasn't because I kept journaling, I kept writing and doodling whatever was coming. And sometimes I also say it in the chapter, sometimes my art wasn't pretty. Sometimes what I was writing or drawing was disturbing. It wasn't always, colors and flowers. It was really horrible because that's how I felt inside. But if I didn't put that on paper, if I didn't express it, it was gonna eat me. It was gonna suffocate me if it stayed inside of me. So I didn't paint all the time. For example, I didn't create sculptures all the time. I wasn't taking pictures all the time, but at least I never stopped writing. I never stopped doodling. My sketchbooks are just doodles with some figures and writing, So that's why I always, I'm so, I'm such an advocate of keep expressing yourself, like keep doing art because it is powerful. It is powerful. And art therapy it's scientifically proved that art can help people with mental illnesses and depression and all of that and going through terminal disease and all of that. And but art therapy started in 1960. It's pretty new, but I'm pretty sure all the artists before are. therapy became an education, something you can study, and knew that too. So I think everybody's able to heal through art. They don't have to study it or go through an art therapist, although I do encourage that too. But they can definitely, if they don't have the means to get to an art therapist, then they can do it themselves. They just need to be willing. And if it's just a notebook and a piece of paper that you have, then that's what you have. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Lali. I know it is sometimes quite challenging and difficult to bring up past memories and emotions, recalling and recounting those moments. But what I take from what you've mentioned in the last few minutes are really encouraging, because you talk about the process of healing and honoring what your parents, am I right in saying, could not fulfill. So you're honoring them by doing this. And I think that's one of the most powerful ways of healing yourself, healing from, past, I guess, getting closure. A lot of people mention about honoring the things that couldn't have been done by the people that you love. So you take that and do it. I guess it's a process of healing for yourself as well. Art, again, I want to come back to art, because art for me, again, is very universal. One of my best, if I can share, one of my best artists, I would say, is Mark Rothko. I love Rothko paintings only because every time I go back to a particular Rothko painting, I see something different. And that's what I love about art, is that different people can take it differently. They can interpret the art differently. And that's why it's universal for me. The colors, the emotion. I start to imagine different scenes in that kind of blurred, just two-tone, colors, and that kind of the haziness. I create something from that haziness in my mind, and I love that. I love that kind of process.
No, I love that too. I love that too. And thank you
So
for
for
sharing it.
you,
Yeah.
who are your kind of favorite artists, or who are you inspired by?
Yeah. Well, I would have to say that, and it might sound cliche, especially now that there's an exhibition going around the globe. But Van Gogh has always inspired me, and I actually have a mosaic
Love
that
that.
I did mixed with ceramics of the Starry Night that I did when I was 12, 13 years old. So that's how much I loved him since before he was famous, because there was not much internet, going around. So but I always felt connected to the way that he painted, with the strokes being very defined, the way he mixed the colors, how he saw things. Like they were always moving, and they actually are. He was able to see something that most people couldn't. Unfortunately, he was very misunderstood, and he died the way he did, and it's very unfortunate. But I also feel very not only drawn to the beauty of his artwork, but also I also identify a lot with him, for the things that he had to endure, how misunderstood he was, for the mental illness that he had, because it is a stigma, sadly, to this day, having a mental illness. Sorry. So I did not know his life before when I started liking him. I only liked him for his art, but when I found out more about him, I realized, oh, that's why I connect with him so much. And someone that also has inspired me a lot, and she is was a writer. Uh, she wrote poetry. Is from Puerto Rico, and her name was Julia de Burgos. And Julia de Burgos, for me, has written the most beautiful poetry I have read from a woman ever. And she has inspired so many people, even from outside Puerto Rico, because her poetry has gone around the globe too. And she also was very misunderstood and died in a very tragic way. And it's ironic how these two amazing artists that were so incredible were not appreciated in their time, but now they're legends.
Yes.
And it was because of how they were, the things they did, and all of that. But I'm also sure that Van Gogh and Julia de Burgos use art in the same way that I do, and the same way that I think we all should, and it's to help us express. So those are my two artists
Beautiful.
that I carry with me. Yeah, thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, again, what you mentioned there is about the legacy that they leave behind for people like us who are now, even the next generation, to discover their work and to to analyze and assess and see the significance of their work. I guess that's where great artists, they out their art, their work outlive their current life in this life.
Yes,
And that's a legacy that
definitely.
they leave behind. I'm truly grateful for all these people to have had the chance to be on this planet right now, because we get
Hmm.
to go back and learn from them. Most importantly,
Yes, we live in a lucky time, even though it's an unfortunate time because of this hard conditions and changes that we might not like. But I think we live in a really lucky time because we're able to share things that we were not able to do before. Like we can remember when we had CDs and we had to had a CD player to listen to only 12 songs, and now we have a device that plays 1,000 songs if you like. It's like that's mind blowing for kids this age. They don't know, but but for us, it's
absolutely.
like wow. Or when we had to go to the radio and record on the cassette
And the
those songs that we like,
cassettes, yeah,
so we could
yeah,
listen to the
mixtape,
song later. Uh-huh.
so retro.
So, yeah, so it is a lucky time. I think we have many things to be grateful for and to use in our advantage.
Absolutely, absolutely. Lali, I want to come back to My Heart's Remedy. You mentioned
Yes.
that in the book, and how that came about. For the benefit of people tuning in, if you don't mind just giving us a bit of a background of My Heart's Remedy and what is it, and how did it come about?
Yes. Well, my heart summary, like I mentioned, it came to me while I was doodling and writing in my sketchbook, and it was because I needed to put a name on the things that I was doing because I knew it all had a thread. Everything that I did, the workshops with the kids, the workshops with the seniors, being an art teacher, doing my own artwork, the way I have used art as a means of sustaining my mental and emotional self and spiritual self, um, I knew there had to be a name for it, and I wanted to make something out of it, like try to bring all those together. And so that's where the name came from, My Heart's Remedy. Because even if it's a painting that I'm doing, or an illustration that I'm posting on Instagram, or a workshop that I'm doing for kids, it's all related. And it has consisted of that workshop for kids that I've done individually, and the artwork that I've been doing on the past few years that have been very vulnerable for me. Most of them have been actually, I feel like I'm, exposing myself. That's the word in it. But I felt like I had to put that out there so that other people could see it and maybe relate and feel like they were not alone. So that's how my heart's remedy came about. Like I felt the need to put out there what I was making for myself in the solitude of my room, so that other people could see that they're not alone. Because I'm pretty sure I used to be alone too. And what helped me was seeing other people telling their stories and realizing, oh, that person gets me, or that person went through something similar, and I aspire to be like that. So yeah, that's how my heart's remedy came. It's been very challenging, like to be so vulnerable, and even the book. For me, I was like, oh my gosh, should I do this? Should I not? And it was a process for me to release that and say, it will be what it has to be, and I'm pretty sure good things will come out of it, even though I'm really scared and I don't want to do it, you know, because it's a lot of information. But being authentic and being vulnerable, I think are the most beautiful things you can do, like to give humanity, to your authentic self, to be vulnerable, which is a strength, not a weakness. And so I got the courage to to finally put a name on it and start putting those things out there. And it was beautiful to receive that feedback, that good feedback. You're so brave, and I admire you for saying those things, and thank you for saying what I couldn't say, because I also went through the same thing and I'm still afraid to say it. Thank you for being my voice, basically. So good things came. I was very pleasantly surprised and humbled. So I keep believing that yes, you should keep being authentic and you should keep being vulnerable, because the real people, your people will get there, and they will get you.
Thank you for sharing all of that, Lali.
Yeah.
And you've explained that quite nicely there. You talk about healing oneself in the process of helping others. So when you help others, you not only you do two things: you help others, and you actually help yourself. In this case, through healing. And thank you for doing what you do, Lali, because like you're saying, you just have to put it out there, and someone will pick it up. You might not know who, when, or why, but someone will pick it up and you will make a difference. The step that you've taken is you've actually said, look, I'm going to be brave. I'm scared to share it, but my intention is I want to help people, and I'm going to get the courage, title of the book, to be courageous and be authentic. And somebody else is going to pick that up, and you're going to change somebody else's life by just taking that courageous step. So thank you for doing that, Lali.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Kamil. Thank you. And I have to say that I read your chapter and I loved it. I loved the way you expressed yourself. I loved the way you compared, the architectural elements to the foundations of life. It was amazing. So I do want to tell everyone, get the book, because you will really enjoy the chapters. You will really fall in love with the authors, and I'm sure that you're going to get incredible knowledge and wisdom out of it.
Absolutely. And I second that. If you're tuning in right now, the book is out in digital format and paperback across all Amazon sites globally. Authentic, courageous humans who change their lives by rewriting the story is out in this international #1 bestseller. And awesome. And Lali's mentioned there are 21 different authors in there with 21 different stories, inspirational, authentic, and thanking everyone, because like I say, it will help people out there. Lali, we are coming up to almost the end of the podcast, but before we move on to the final segment, if you don't mind, I love your background there. I'm looking at you. If you're listening on Spotify at the moment, or kind of a podcast, you won't be able to see, but if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see what I mean. I love that photograph up there. Is that your daughter?
Yes, I have a picture of my daughter at the beach when we celebrated her first birthday. She was Moana.
Oh, nice.
She was dressed as Moana. I have also a little quadro, a frame that says "You are loved." So I always remember myself of that. And I also have my plants, and I have a drawing that I did of my uterus, actually my womb.
Yes.
It's a very expressive, a lot of intensity, colors, and all of that, because this is our center of creation. For women, we create life in our womb, and that's how I wanted to depict it. So
I love that. It is a process, going back to art, it is expressive. And like you mentioned, it is what it is. It is your emotions manifesting itself, and you're expressing it externally. And that's the beauty of art. You allow yourself to, whatever you're feeling, what are the emotions, to express yourself. And when it's in front of you, you're able to have that conversation. And I think that's where the beauty of art is, that you have that conversation externally rather than keeping it inside and, things festering. You are able to put it in front of you and say, look, okay, fine, this is the way I feel today, or this is the way I feel the next day. But that's what I have, and I truly believe that's a form of therapy, in a sense that you are healing yourself by
Definitely.
expressing yourself.
Definitely. Yes. You said it perfectly. Yes. That's what it is. So,
Okay, Lali. Uh, just a quick one before we move on to the final section. How do people connect with you?
oh, of course. Well, they can find me on Instagram at My Heart's Remedy, and I also have a website which is myheartsremedy.com, and the Facebook page is the same, My Heart's Remedy. So they can find me on Instagram and my website. Yes.
Awesome. And if people want to, I guess, because you have these classes that you teach, can they do it online, virtually, with you?
You know what? I've been contemplating it because I've been asked that before. So I am considering doing them online, but that would be mostly probably individually, not a bunch of people. But yes,
Awesome.
if I do or when I do, I will say it on Instagram. Definitely announce it there and my website. So
Absolutely. So in the first instance, just connect with Lali, just connect with her, and then you never know where the conversation might take you. And it's all for a good intention. The book, again, I forgot to mention the book. All proceeds, all the authors, including Lali and myself,
yeah.
have
Mm-hmm.
agreed that all proceeds from the book will go to Elimu Girls, which is a charity to help disadvantaged teens, girls in Malindi, Kenya, to provide them with boarding and also a program to teach them sewing so that they can live a better life. They can actually,
Mm-hmm.
take ownership of their life by learning and applying that to become entrepreneurs. So we've
Mm-hmm.
all agreed that all the proceeds. So when you buy the book, you're helping somebody else. So help us help
Yes.
more people by buying the book. Okay, so
Yes.
that's. I
Yes.
just want to remind people.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the most important things. Yes.
Okay, Lali. So we are coming up to the last segment of the podcast, and this is a fun one. This is a
Aw.
fun one.
I'm sad. It's over already? Okay, yes, yes, I'm ready.
But again, this has been super awesome. I think we
Yes,
barely scratched the surface with this conversation. We hopefully
definitely.
we can revisit this conversation once people have read the book, engage with it. They might have comments and queries, and we might have another session where you might be able to kind of answer some of the questions from the book. But for the time being, we are
Amazing.
limited with the time that we have at the moment. I'm going to go with the quick 5 questions for you.
Yes, I'm ready. Go for it.
Awesome. So, Lali, the first question is, what is your favorite word?
The one that I got tattooed, Confia, and
Oh,
that's the name of
wow.
my chapter. Yeah.
Lali's got a tattoo on her right chest,
Yes, the right side.
the collarbone, right
Yeah, the
collarbone.
collarbone.
Confia.
Confia.
Yeah.
And it's in Spanish, but I won't say what it means because you need to read the chapter to find out what it means.
Okay. That's a great tip there. So get the book, understand what confia means in relation to Lali's chapter. Awesome. Question number 2. What are you currently reading or listening to?
Oh my God, so many things. I'm actually reading my birth chart. I bought a book about that. But the other one that I have it right here is this one. I had it all the time. And it's from Alan Cohen. And it's amazing. It's like if you are going through
Alan
whatever
Cohen, yeah.
situation, it has everything you can find in a workshop. It's here. Like you just buy the book. But yeah, that's the one that I'm reading.
Awesome. Great. Alan Cohen is a great author, and I follow him, and his work is amazing.
Yes,
It makes sense.
he makes
Yeah.
it does, and it's easy to understand. It's not too complicated because
Yeah.
I don't know. I know English, but if it's too technical or something, I won't understand it.
Mm,
And it's very easy to understand.
awesome. Great. So, question number 3. If you could meet someone either living or past, who would that be?
My two favorite artists, it would be Van Gogh and Julia, just to tell them how much they have touched my life and the lives of many, and how the icons, legends that they became after they left this earth plane. So I would definitely would like to have a conversation with both separately. but with both. I would love to know what it would be to just find what was in their heads. So when they would do, I would ask them, "What were you thinking when you were making art? Or what inspired you?" The same questions that you're asking me, I would love to ask them too.
Brilliant, brilliant. And I'm sure that that will be a really interesting conversation, and a lot will be learned from those conversations with both of them.
Yes. Oh, and Ibrahim Khalil, who wrote the Prophet,
Hmm.
he came to me in a dream, and I did not know about him until I saw his book and saw his face and realized, oh, that's the face that I dreamed of. So I would love to have a conversation with him. I love his books. His poems are amazing.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
This is really, really interesting. I mean, I'm learning so much here. So question number four. Question number four. What advice would you give to the younger Lali?
Don't stop being your silly, weird, happy self, because that's the one thing that I stopped doing and that I'm coming back to by being authentic. But since I was bullied for being different and being weird and all of those things, and I would get called names, and I thought that was bad. And I tried to fit in for a long time and like blend with everyone. And I was not born to blend. I was born to shine. So I would tell myself like, don't stop being that silly, beautiful, crazy, lovable girl.
Wow, I love that. Love that. I was not born to blend. I was born to shine. I love that. Thank you, Lali, for sharing that with us.
Yes, yes.
Question number five, the last one. What
Uh-huh.
can we expect from Lali in the next 5 years?
Oh my God. I think you're killing me, Kamil. This is the hardest one. Well, I am planning on some things right now that I don't know if I should share them with the world, but I am planning on becoming the best artist that I can be. And also, I would like to keep writing and maybe being a speaker or wherever a great spirit wants to put me, because I realize that I can give a message and I want to serve back. I don't just want to create art, I want to do something else. So you might see me doing something other than art during the next 5 years. Um, but yes, I don't want to give too much details because I want to keep the energy there. It's still forming. It's like a little seed yet. But yeah, doing art and something else spiritually.
I'm really excited and super thrilled to know what awaits you, and I completely give you my energy right now to be able to
Oh,
manifest
thank you.
everything that you want in the
Thank you.
future. And I
Thank
agree
you.
with what you mentioned about just keeping it tight, because the best is yet to come. So just being laser focused and things will
Mm.
come. So giving you all the energy for you to manifest all those things, Lali.
Thank you. Thank you to you as well, Camille. You have been I'm very fortunate to have you in my life, and it has been an amazing surprise to make a friend in Dubai. And
Absolutely. We have to visit each other. You come to
yes,
Dubai, we go to Puerto
definitely.
Rico.
I'll take you to all the beaches around us, and yes, you're gonna love it. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love Dubai. But I'm very happy that we've met, even in this way, and that I was able to share this time with you. Like you said, we just scratched the surface. I do feel like that too. Like I could keep another hour or two talking with you and just talking about life. So thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lali. We'll have
Yeah.
another conversation. I'm pretty sure of it. But for now, unfortunately, the time is up. I want to thank Lali for sharing with us her journey, her writing in her chapter, in the book, Authentic, Courageous Humans Who Change Their Lives by Rewriting the Story, out now on Amazon, digital and paperback format. Go ahead and grab the book. Connect with
Yeah.
Lali. We will place the methods that you can connect with Lali in the description in the podcast. So don't worry about that. Go ahead and connect with Lali. But for the time being, thank you so much, Lali. Thank you, everyone, for
Of
listening.
course.
Peace and love to you always from myself and Lali.
Be blessed. Love you all. Take care.
Bye bye for now. And until the next episode, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace and love from both of us always. Bye bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in from wherever you are. My sincere hope is that this episode has not only resonated with you, but also given you some invaluable tips and strategies to improve your life. Don't forget to share your comments with me. As you know, I love to hear your views. Also, remember to follow the Academy, follow me, my guests, and tag us on our social media handles, which will be provided in the description. Most importantly, please leave a review and let me know that you've heard this podcast and how it has impacted you. Until the next episode, stay safe, stay healthy, and peace and love from me always.